I know it's late. I know you're weary, and I know your plans don't include me. Still here we are, both of us lonely, longing for shelter, for all we can see. Why should we worry? No one will care, girl. We've got tonight, babe. Why don't you stay?
It's funny how these old classic songs can transport you. This song starts to play and I'm 18 again. So long ago. In a different place. At a different time in my life. A million miles away, and yet it feels like yesterday. It'd been a particularly bad year for me. Things at home were worse than ever, in part, I think, because I was finally old enough to understand what was happening, what was being asked of me. More than that, what was demanded of me. I was understanding what family was and what it wasn't, and dealing with the realization that mine was far more wasn't than was. It was the year I fell in love, and also the year I learned the meaning of the word unrequited. I'm not entirely sure, even to this day, what she represented to me. Maybe an escape. Maybe something I was missing in my life. She was beautiful, popular, sweet and kind. I wasn't the most popular kid in my class, but I got along with almost everyone, and I had both given and received my share of attention from the girls in my class. But in this case, it wasn't happening. And as it didn't happen, my desire just grew deeper. I never pushed or did anything beyond letting my intentions be known, mostly through shared acquaintances. Those same acquaintances that let me know the feelings weren't mutual. I've thought a lot about what it was that drew me to her. And for a while I questioned so many things about myself. When I would see her at parties or in class, around school, it was always a bit awkward. We'd exchange hellos and maybe some small talk. She'd smile a bit and I'd run out of things to say, and she'd gracefully extract herself from the conversation. There was nothing cruel in her. It was never mean. Even when she knew my desire for her, she still always managed to be kind. In a way, it just made things worse. She was kind in my life when the people who were supposed to be kind to me were not. Maybe it was her unattainability that drew me deeper. Denied affection was a feeling I was familiar with. Unpleasant, but familiar. I grew up with it and endured it for most of my life. The year passed and very little changed. When our senior prom approached, I decided to take my last shot. I tortured myself for weeks, trying to find the courage, and finally, I asked. She told me that she was already agreed to go with someone else. But thank you for asking, she said. She reached out and touched my shoulder, smiling gently. I know it was supposed to comfort me, but it didn't. It hurt. But it was a familiar hurt. It was an expected pain. I remember feeling less crushed than I expected. It wasn't the end of the world, after all. I went to my prom with a friend. We were close, and both of us were recovering from similar situations. A lonely hearts club of sorts. It gave us something to laugh about at least, and took so much pressure off. We committed ourselves to having the time of our lives. For the most part, we did. We did the whole thing. Me in a tuxedo, her in a formal gown, pictures, a corsage, a boutonniere, a limousine to dinner, then to the dance, and then to the beach to end the evening, watching the sunrise, drinking champagne, surrounded by friends, back when staying up all night was thrilling. Everything about the evening was memorable, but one moment stands out more than the rest. When I asked my crush to dance, she simply said to me, "Sorry," and stepped away. With that, my heart sunk. I felt it break all over again. I knew that after the year ended, I would never see her again. I was leaving for school all the way across the country. And this was going to be it. I stood for a moment, feeling alone, lost, hurt. Not even a dance. And then I felt a tap on my shoulder. When I turned, I was looking at my crush's friend, probably her best friend. We didn't know each other well, but we talked at times and shared a few classes. She was regarded by just about everyone as the most beautiful girl in our school. I've been told before that she had struggles of her own. I don't think she knew how beautiful she was, because nearly every boy in class was intimidated by her. No one felt worthy. And looking back on it, I suspect she spent her share of nights home alone, waiting for the phone to ring. Tonight, she looked even more beautiful than usual. And she asked, almost shyly, if I'd like to dance with her. I knew she had heard what had happened, what her friend had said to me, and how it left me feeling. I told her I would like that very much. She smiled, and I reached awkwardly as the music started. She leaned down and softly spoke into my ear. "It's okay. You can hold me closer." I did, feeling her body pressed to mine, my arms wrapped around her, hers around me, her head on my shoulder. The song began to play. And then I heard the words, and they stirred something inside me. And even today, they still do. I know it's late. I know you're weary. I know your plans don't include me. Still here we are, both of us lonely, longing for shelter from all that we see. Why should we worry? No one will care, girl. Look at the stars so far away. We've got tonight. Who needs tomorrow? We've got tonight, babe. Why don't you stay? We danced, and I did hold her close. It was a special moment, born out of a moment of kindness, of understanding, and of some sense of love. Not romantic love, but something that people, the ones who have it in their soul, are capable of sharing at moments like these. A love of care and of kindness. And that song and that dance and that moment changed me. An act of kindness, so very simple, pure, and without any thought of reciprocity. I'm not sure if she knew that I cried while we danced. We never spoke again after that night. I don't know why it happened the way it did, or why she took it upon herself to help me in that way. Maybe it was just pity. Maybe something else. I'm not even sure she'd remember our dance all these years later. But every time that song plays, I do. And when I hear it, I remember her and that night and what it means to be beautiful. How it isn't anything physical. How it can happen anywhere, even in the middle of a crowded dance floor, even at senior prom. With just a tap on the shoulder and the words, "Will you dance with me?"
Deep in my soul, I've been so lonely. All of my hopes fading away. We've got
tonight. Who needs tomorrow? Let's make it last.
Let's find a way.
Turn on the light.
Come take my hand now.
We got tonight, babe. Why don't we stay? We got tonight.